what's up, man? Welcome back to another episode of the It's Just Different podcast, man. And before we get started, y'all know the routine. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell for any new content coming to this channel. Today, we are going to discuss football. That's right, it's football season, man. Specifically, Michigan football, since fall camp is underway. We are going to get into a few things as far as like the coaching changes, my expectations, key players, and then towards the end, or at the end of the video, we are just going to pick the schedule. I'm going to give you my picks of the schedule, and since Michigan is not getting any respect from any big time media outlets, so I figured, looking at the schedule and looking at the games we had, it didn't feel like the disrespect should have been there. So I'm gonna delve into that a little later. But right now, we are going to talk about the coaching changes that has happened at this university. Jim Harbaugh has totally revamped the defensive staff. Some offensive staff changes as well. But most notably, Don Brown is gone, the defensive coordinator who was so great when he first got here. But seems like the scheme wasn't fitting his players, and he wasn't able to adjust or wasn't willing to adjust either way. So he's out of there. Coming in is the Baltimore Ravens linebackers coach, Mike Macdonald, who was his first time as this is his first time as a defensive coordinator. Coming with him from the Baltimore Ravens is George Hilo, who was going to coach. No, not safety. He's going to coach linebackers here at Michigan. He coached safeties in Baltimore. Another coach from the Baltimore Ravens, he's on the offensive staff, is Matt Weiss. He's going to be the quarterbacks coach / quarterbacks coach, and help with the running game, because that's what primarily what he did in Baltimore. As far as any more defensive coaching changes, we have Steve Clinkscale, who is a big time defensive backs coach in Kentucky. With the talent that he was able to get in Kentucky, he's had some guys get drafted pretty high. Now you would think with the talent that Michigan has, which is better than what he had in Kentucky, I believe he's going to do a great job with that secondary, who was pretty damn bad last year. Also on the defensive side, you have Ron Bellamy, who was a former Wolverine, West Bloomfield High School football coach, recently won the state title this past season, decided to try take his talents to college football. When Jim Harbaugh comes calling, it's only right that, especially as your alma mater hitting you up, you take that phone call, man. And then, he's going to coach safeties. So that leaves us with the defensive line coach, which is Sean Nua, who, the jury's still out on him. Even with myself, I believe that he can be a really good coach, but I also know that behind the scenes, as far as recruiting go, Don Brown wasn't letting him go get the big guys that he wanted to. Don Brown wanted to get guys that you can put weight on to fit his scheme, smaller guys. And if you looked at Michigan's defense, especially the run defense, we were just getting blasted by teams who would run the ball right up the gut, because we didn't have anybody, no big bodies in the middle, because that's what they were recruiting. Now it's a totally different recruiting change. The way they have the scheme now, sort of a 3-4, 4-4, 4-3. You never really know what you're going to get. But Mike Macdonald, speaking to the media the other day, basically says, "Man, look, we're not cutting atoms here. It's the same positions. We're just gonna do. Guys gonna have defensive ends. Gonna be defensive ends. If I ask them to stand up, they're gonna stand up. We're not gonna be doing things that make you like, oh man, this is some calculus going on in the football field. No, man, he's just a smart football player, smart football coach that's going to change some things up with the athletes that he has on defense, use them to their best ability, and I believe that's going to work with this defense. Any more staff changes? We got Mike Hart coming back in. If you know Michigan football, Mike Hart. Obviously, the best running back to come through there, he is going to be coaching running backs. You got Jay Harbaugh moving from running backs to tight end. You have one of our best recruiters, if not our best recruiter, Sharon Moore, going to the going to be offensive line coach. So that is the staff changes. I might be missing somebody if I'm thinking about it too. No, I'm not missing anybody. Um, so that's and Josh Gaddis is still the OC, also wide receivers coach. So that's the staff for the Wolverines. My expectations for this team, I'm going to point mainly towards the defense because the defense was just so disappointing last season. Like, just very, very disappointing. We're not used to um, the defensive backs looking as bad as they were. But they were young, and they were also asked to do a very, very difficult job to play man um, most of the game, mostly all game, and it just didn't work out, man. Teams would just throw the ball up down the field and get these big catches down the field because you got young guys who didn't really get much time, and now it's their time. They're just asked to play one-on-one on the island. Didn't go so well, man. So I'm expecting a different outlook for this defense. Um, my expectation for the offense isn't really much. I think we have the right receivers to to do the job. We got the incoming transfers from Jackson State, Dalen Baldwin. Um, we also have Roman Wilson, the speedster, who was a true freshman last year. I really love this guy. We got Cornelius Johnson, who I think is going to take a big step. We have Ronnie Bell. We have Mike Sanger still, and the guy that I am really excited to see is AJ Henning. That guy is another speedster. We lost Giles Jackson, but I think AJ Henning and Giles Jackson were similar in build. Giles is a little faster, but we'll see. We'll see what happens this football season. I have a lot of confidence in AJ Henning. As far as the running backs rotation, Hassan Haskins is the starter. The guy's a beast. It's hard to get down. We have Blake Corum, who is the lightning in the bottom. This guy can take a run that should go 2, 6, 7 yards and go 60. That's how good he is. And then we have the true freshman, Donovan Edwards, who just won the state title with Ron Bellamy, one of the best running backs, if not the best running back prospect coming out of high school this year. Jim Harbaugh said at his press conference, this guy is going to play day one. Not saying how much he's going to play, but he's going to play day one because he's that damn good. You just can't leave him off the field. So I'm thinking, and Josh Gaddis admitted, man, we didn't run the ball enough last year. We have a good offensive line. We have 8 guys competing for 5 spots on the offensive line. So, this is going to be an interesting team. I love the way there's the underdog mentality. We're not being ranked top 10 and people knowing that we're not a top 10 team yet. I like the underdog mentality. I just seen a preseason top 25 ranking that ESPN did, and we're not even in the top 25. And that's fine. I love the, shut up and go do it attitude that the players are having. They're disappointed with the years, but they know damn well they weren't the 2-4 football team. Just a lot of things went bad last year. Aiden Hutchinson is back. Josh Ross at linebacker. Michael Baird at linebacker. Chris Hinton at defensive tackle. Mozzie Smith is a name you're hearing a lot by the players and coaches. Mike McDonald mentioned him. Jim Harbaugh mentioned him. Aiden Hutchinson mentioned him. Like, I am expecting a kid from Grand Rapids, my hometown, my city. I expect him to have a great, great year. But right now, I wasn't actually going to do this because I hate, when it comes to college football, I hate picking schedules because you never know what can happen on any given Saturday. Things like crazy things happen, especially early in the season. But I am a confident person, especially in this football team. Especially in this team. I think Jim Harbaugh has got his mojo back. I think he's back to being the coach that he was when he first got here. and I believe he's going to have this team ready come the first week of the season, and then, week by week, take it week by week, and see what happens. But right now, I'm going to pick the schedule. I have it right here on my phone. Week 1, we have Western Michigan, and I think everybody expects that to be a win, big win. The first time that defense gets on the field for everybody to get to see, and I think they would do some great things. Week 2, September 11th is a night game. They already announced it to be a maze out at the Big House. Washington coming in from the West Coast. Supposed to be a good team this season. But I'm going to be honest, man, I think Michigan sends a message to the entire country in this game that we are tired of being overlooked. This is a new thing. We're here, and we're here to stay. I think Michigan blows out Washington in week 2. That's just my opinion. So that leaves them 2-0. Week 3, they have Northern Illinois coming into the Big House. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one. That's another victory, 3-0. We have Rutgers. I think Greg Schiano has Rutgers better than what they have been. It should be a hard-fought game, but I think Michigan gets the job done. That will make us 4-0. And then we have the next game being Wisconsin. They haven't announced the time. I expect that game to be an early kickoff at Camp Randall. We always seem to struggle at Camp Randall, so I'm not even going to sit here and give you any bullshit answer. I think we'll lose that game. I think Michigan, it'll be a close, hard-fought one, but I think Michigan loses to put us 4-1. The next week we have Nebraska. I don't know what Nebraska's doing right now. They just are as bad as they've always been in the last 10, 15 years. That's another victory. That make us 5-1. We have a bye week in between after the Nebraska game before we play Northwestern at home. So October 23rd. I don't think Michigan has a problem with Northwestern. That's just me. I expect Michigan to be 6-1 after that game, and then that leaves you with the rivalry game for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. A lot of BS happened last year. Joe Milton played. I don't think it was Joe Milton's fault that we lost that game against Michigan State, but I believe a lot of it was the play calling, especially down on that goal line when they had the Wildcat, and I still to this day don't know what the hell they were doing. I think Paul Bunyan comes back home to Ann Arbor and stays home for a while. That will make Michigan 6-1. Indiana, the first time since the 80s, beat us last year. That's not going to happen this year. 7-1 Michigan. Then we go to Penn State. Oh, man. That's probably going to be a night game, whiteout. The last time we played there, Penn State was a pretty good team. And we played so bad to start that game and came all the way back and was one drop pass by Ronnie Bell from sending Penn State fans home. I believe they were going to be sent home disappointed that they lost that game. So, oh man, this is tough, man, because I don't know. Boy. I'm going to go with Michigan winning this game. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But I think Michigan pulls off the victory. Now, it's going to be a highly contested, tight game, but I think Michigan pulls away with the victory, making us 9-1. And then we have a trap game, Maryland at Maryland. I think that contest is tight, but Michigan pulls it off, making us 10-1 as we go into the November 27th, noon kickoff at the Big House. Y'all know what team I'm talking about, that team down south. Now, before I get into my prediction for this game, here's what I know that's been talked about from a lot of people who are around both programs. Michigan, the talent gap between Ohio State and Michigan is not as big as you would think. It's just not. But the results lately have been terrifying. Have been really, really bad. The buzz going around this rivalry is that the recently, not just Ohio State, not just that team down south. Um, People started to pick up on Don Brown's signals, and I was really skeptical of that when I read it, when I heard it. But then I started thinking about the Wisconsin game last year. The Wisconsin was horrible. If you watch their season, they were bad. And they kept reversing, reverse, side to side to side, all game long. And it was like every time Michigan ran a play, they had the perfect play called for what was coming. I was hearing that and read this is a buzz to everybody. If you follow college football or message boards or whatever, is that they knew their signals. People knew Don Brown's signals. And especially when you play in a team as Ohio State, as good as they are, as talented as they are, you cannot let them gain an edge on you because they will exploit you worse than any other team. See, a lot of teams can exploit Michigan because they don't have the talent as Michigan. Ohio State got more talent at every position. They're very deep. So when you give them the inkling that they know what you're going to do, you don't really have much. You're going to have not much success going for you. Now, take a look at the first couple games that Don Brown coached as a D coordinator. Those games were close. Michigan did fairly well. You know, the spot, we should have won that game. The one at home with, was it John O'Corn with the Dwayne Haskins off the bench game? We were tight in that game, and the Dwayne Haskins showed you that he was going to be a guy who was to be reckoned with. He came fresh off the bench when J.T. Barrett got hurt and won the game. That was a highly contested game. People forget Michigan was up 14-0 in that game. And then the next year we go in favored at the Horseshoe, and we get blown out. And then not last year, the year before last, because we didn't play because of COVID year, we get blown out again at the Big House. That, to me, you cannot look at those results and go, wow, they did know. You know, it's just obvious. It's so obvious, and I'm not the only one talking, man. Just do your research. A lot of people have been talking about this, man. And I don't know if he was stubborn. He was too stubborn to change his signals. But either way, man, you cannot just pull out the same old thing against a team like that. As much as I hate them, I respect the fact that they're talented, which is why I love the rivalry. They're not some garbage ass team like, you know, the guys in the green and white. But I love the rivalry because they're a very good team. I want to see Michigan beat very good teams. And with that being said, November 27th, you can start the fucking countdown right now. I'm putting it out there right now, man. The streak is fucking over. It's over. Michigan beats Ohio State at the Big House, November 27th, wins the Big Ten East, goes to the Big Ten Championship game for the first time under Jim Harbaugh. Y'all heard it here first. November 27th. Don't tweet me. Don't none of that BS people want to do. Don't. If you have a problem with that, leave it in the comments. I love to see people's comments. Leave it in the comments. But I have very much belief in this football team. Mike McDonald, the D coordinator, is the reason why I have it. A lot of people who follow football says this dude is smart as hell. He knows his football, and if you watch his interviews, he makes you want to get on the football field and play for this dude. He is intense. He is ready to go. He even said it himself to his players. We will be ready for that team down south. That is the podcast for today. I'll see y'all next time, man. Peace and block. Let's go.